Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 48th part of What If Deku Was a Magical Girl Mascot. Quirk, Magical Girl Mascot. The author of this great fanfic is Emma. I believe links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 48, Operation Rescue Deku. Things weren't going well for UA. Many students were injured in various ways. Many small injuries. But many students had to be hospitalized. Including Toru, who while she was able to regain conscious, she still had poison in her system. Katsuki was able to regain enough strength to move on her own, but she did overuse her abilities. And of course word on the kidnapping quickly got out, with the press wanting information from anyone and everyone they could. Inko knew she had to give some sort of statement as the mother of the kidnapped student. However, she had help from Mitsuki to come up with the statement. Yes, I know that my son was kidnapped on the watch of UA, but the blame falls firmly on the kidnappers, said Inko. How can you not blame UA? Asked the reporter. So anyone who works for UA should share in the blame? Asked Inko. The reporter's eye twitched as something screamed inside of them, it's a trap. He was kidnapped on their watch, said the reporter. Then I'm to blame as well, said Inko. What? Asked the reporter. I work at UA, said Inko. After what happened at the USJ, I have been working as Nizu's assistant. In fact, I helped in the planning of the camp. It wasn't much, but I know how much work went into planning the camp. I know many decoys were used. I wasn't even sure which camp they were going to. I didn't even know until the night they got there. And I actually talked on the phone with the wild pussycats during the process of planning. The reporter was gaping. I don't know how the villains found the camp, but I don't blame UA. Muttered Inko. They tried their hardest to keep them safe and I've seen what they done firsthand, so don't you dare tell me I should blame them. The reporter inwardly sighed. The people wanted to see a crying mother talk about how her son was missing and how it UA's fault for not protecting them as they should. And of course it would be an interview that would go down in legend. Still, though, many of the students were still in the hospital. Toru was staring at the ceiling in her room. Thankfully her lungs were now fine and the poison was almost out of her system. But still, she wanted to get out of the hospital, because being alone during the check-in sucked. She knew everyone else weren't alone when it happened, either with their family or with one of the other partners. Though she did hear one of them was alone, though to be fair she didn't have anyone right now. But that situation was worse because Toru had people, they just couldn't be with her when it came. She hoped she wouldn't be alone the next time it happened. Because it really sucked the day before because it happened when she was alone, not when she was with visitors. That was when she saw almost all over her classmates enter the room. The only ones missing were Jiro, Yaoyorozu, and of course Izuku. Hey guys, said Toru. How are you feeling? Asked Ashido. Okay, other than the mood swings, but that has nothing to do with the poisoning, said Toru. Mood swings? Asked Ashido. We'll explain later, sighed Ochako. Did you see Midoriya? Asked Kaminari. The hag helped her, said Katsuki, proud of her own mom's part in the interview. Though I do fear that the media will try to drag her through the mud, said Tenya. Someone might say she doesn't care whether her son is alive or not, muttered Shoji. The magical girls in the room were quiet. He is alive, said Ochako, finally speaking up. And that's not just some fucking "oh we know he's alive" bullshit that we're trusting our guts, muttered Katsuki. The rest of the class realized what they were getting at. He's been able to use his telepathy, realized Tokoyami. All of the magical girls nodded. And that was when they all felt the horrible mixing of emotions. Hey! Izuku's voice popped into their heads. Deku! Thought Ochako as she started to cry. They saw the looks on their visible classmates' faces. It was clear that telepathy was activated. And because of all the strong emotions going around, it was just a giant mix of sadness, anger, fear, regret, guilt, and a bunch of other negative emotions in there.
Any updates on their plans? Asked Tenya.
None. Explained Izuku, but whatever they're planning, I don't think it's good.
That girl is still talking about becoming a magical girl, isn't she? Asked Katsuki.
Yeah, but from what I can tell, they don't want me to bond with her,
said Izuku. The feeling of fear increased. Did you see my interview? Asked Inko, knowing that might brighten things up.
Yeah.
Laughed Izuku. What happened? They haven't shown it here, explained Melissa.
The media tried to blame UA for what happened, but Inko turned it around on them so that she blamed the villains who did the actual kidnapping and explained she helped plan out the camp.
Explained Shoto.
That interviewer had no idea how to respond.
Laughed Achiko. I wish I could have seen it too, sighed Toru. Was Handjob angry? Asked Katsuki.
He was.
Laughed Izuku. Katsuki, please don't call him that, replied Inko. So you're still in that pet carrier? Asked Achiko.
They were able to get information that he was being held captive in a pet carrier along with one other thing to hold him back.
Yeah, and that thing is still on me, thought Izuku. That thing was an anti-transformation collar.
It was used on people with transformation quirks.
Whenever they would try to transform, it would give them electric shock.
That combination is the reason why he wasn't able to fight back, because he couldn't.
Don't worry, the heroes are working on everything, assured Inko. They will find you. I know, cried Izuku, someone's coming.
And with that he ended the telepathic call and everyone's emotions started to simmer down. Everyone but Kirishima were concerned by what they had seen.
Fuck! Yelled Katsuki. Hey, if our plan works, we'll get him back, said Kirishima. Plan? What plan? Asked Tsuyu. Is that why you were so secretive yesterday? Asked Toru. Katsuki, Achiko, Shoto, and Kirishima knew it was time to tell them. These four came to visit me yesterday, said Toru. I don't know what happened, but we were planning to explain when everyone came to visit, said Katsuki. We might have a way to find Deku.
Everyone else was shocked.
How were you able to hide things? Asked Tsuyu, narrowing her eyes.
I've learned how to hide things from Deku and Auntie for years. After we found out this, I told them how to deal with secrets,
said Katsuki. It's mostly birthday and Christmas presents.
But the point still stands.
So what happened exactly? Asked Tenya.
The four explained how they came to visit Toru the day before, as Katsuki didn't want to be in her house, Achiko not wanting to be alone in case Izuku checked in to assure everyone he was alive, Shoto due to having nothing to do, and Kirishima because Katsuki decided to drag him along.
Why did you drag him along? Asked Mina suspiciously. That's none of your business. Do you want to hear the story or no? Yelled Katsuki. You are total tsundere for him, whimpered Mineta. You know you're lucky that Deku's been captured, muttered Katsuki, glaring at Mineta. Anyways, sighed Achiko.
While there they passed by Yayorozu rooms. As it turned, thanks to the help of someone from Class 1B, she was able to put a tracer on the Nomu when she created the transceiver, which she gave to the police.
So there's a chance we can find him, said Kirishima. Did she even agree to it? Asked Tsuyu. She hadn't decided yet, admitted Shoto. There was a silence in the room. I'm in, Toru said. I'm getting out of here today, so. Normally I would say something along the lines of this is something villains would do, said Tsuyu.
Tsuyu was shaking.
But I know how everyone feels about this, said Tsuyu. I can't just say that, not when we're all in pain.
Auntie might have put on a brave face for that interview, but she passed out a few times since this happened,
muttered Katsuki. Yeah, sighed Achiko. Is she sick? asked Tokoyami. No, she's just been crying too much, said Katsuki, and that's just the worst of it. Not to mention your anger, said Shoto. Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint which emotion belongs to who other than your anger and Melissa's loneliness, said Tsuyu. Oh yeah, Melissa probably has it bad, said Mina. Not only is dealing with everyone's grief, but unlike everyone else, she's completely alone, said Tenya. You're experiencing each other's pain, said Tokoyami. That's what we've all been saying, yelled Katsuki, and why we have to rescue Deku before they kill him. They're not going to kill him, said Tenya. How do you even know? Asked Katsuki. If they were going to kill him, they would have done by this point, muttered Tenya. They want him alive, but he's still in danger. What do you mean? Asked Tsuyu. They're probably going to do with something to him, so that he would be under their control, said Tenya. I don't know how they would do it, but considering they're waiting for something, that means whatever they're planning need to be prepared. Probably something to make their control permanent, said Shoto. Why did Deku's quirk have to include healing? Asked Katsuki, knowing that was probably the main reason why they took him. I know we shouldn't be doing any of this, but realizing that fact, we have to go rescue him, said Tenya. This does sound like incredibly bad idea, said Shoji, even with everything that happened at the camp. Though it's probably because all of them are pretty close to being insane due that emotion mixing they keep talking about, said Mineta. Wait, are any of you on your? He couldn't finish that sentence because of the glares he got from all of the magical girls and Ishido. Even if he wasn't part of it, Mineta was terrified. Its own fault, said Kaminari. So you're all going to do this, said Kirishima. The ones that didn't hear about the plan all agreed. It was clear that despite their reservations they were going to do it. Though I do have some conditions, sighed Tenya. Maybe you should plan things when you're all alone, said Tokoyami. The magical girls in Kirishima all sweat dropped. After all, it seemed like a few of their classmates were against the idea. Either way, you're going to keep quiet about it, muttered Katsuki. You got it. The rest of the class all sweated. After all, Katsuki would more than likely go through with her threats. As the sun was setting, all of the magical girls sent in their alibis to their parents or other family members, while mostly, after all, Achiko lived alone. It helped that their parents and Fuyumi knew about the occasional check-ins, the problems that they were causing. The parents mostly bought it, though there was one that didn't completely. At UA, Inko was in Nizu's office. Mitsuki was with her as well. I have good news. I have gotten word of which heroes they recruited, said Nizu. I think you might enjoy the group we have recruited. Inko looked at the list and Mitsuki read the list and whistled. Expect for that Gran Torino guy quite the list, said Mitsuki. Then she saw a particular name. Wait, they got him? Yes, even Endeavor agreed, said Nizu, though I suspect if he declined such a big mission it would be suspicious. Inko laughed a little while Mitsuki shrugged. While she didn't know all of the details, she did hear about the slap and that the hero deserved it. I thought you would be impressed, said Nizu. So where are other partners? Since Toru is out of the hospital, they're going to have a sleepover at Achiko's, said Inko. That just screams something suspicious if you ask me, said Mitsuki. Yes, she was the one who didn't buy it. Nizu chuckled. That might be, but it could genuine, said Nizu. Anyways, I must prepare. Unlike your interview, I don't think we'll be able to get away with a small fan following. Inko nodded as Nizu left the room. Hey, said Mitsuki, are you going to take him out school? Inko looked at her friend with a half glare. I was just wondering, said Mitsuki. I know how dangerous is being a hero, said Inko. Remember, ever since Izuku was little, he and Katsuki would go to various places where heroes would show and watch their fights to analyze, and so many times Izuku would end up saying something that happened during what he saw that was really scary and dangerous. Plus I know the heroes who work here. Good, I was worried for a bit. Said Mitsuki. Do you know many call I made to the various decoys? Said Inko, do you know how many decoys they set up? Okay, that's enough about work talk. Laughed Mitsuki. My only hope is that Izuku comes home. Said Inko. Mitsuki nodded at her friend. Meanwhile at the hospital most of the group were waiting for Toru and Yayorozu. And both of them left the hospital at the same time. So? Said Kirishima. Please just tell me you have a plan. Said Yayorozu. It's going to be a stealth mission. Said Kirishima. I refuse to let any of get involved if there will be a fight. Said Tenya, after what happened in Hosu, we can't just rebond with him, only Kirishima and Yayorozu would be able to get healed if anything were to happen, and even then that's only if we're close enough to Izuku. Yeah, we'd get the rest of us as shit out of luck. Said Katsuki. I see. Sighed Yayorozu. Don't worry. I'll give advice about stealth on the way there. Said Toru. So you're going to help us? Asked Kirishima. I know we shouldn't be going in such a big group. Said Yayorozu, but I'll join and I will pull everyone back if that happens. They all nodded in agreement. Yayorozu revealed the transceiver and they headed to the train station. None of them were sure what was going to happen, but with the magical girl's shared grief they all had to do something. And little did they know that was going to happen that night would change everything. Not just for them, but for everyone else as well. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 49. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.